There is a truth nobody really tells you. Women do not get attached to a man because he is always nice. They get attached because when they are around him, their emotions are never completely flat. And that emotional flatness is exactly what pushes so many men into the friend zone, even though they are caring and sincere. You can behave properly, be polite, always available, always predictable. But if every time she is with you, she feels only one single emotion, sooner or later her brain will get bored. It is like eating a delicious meal every day. At first, you love it, but over time, it starts to taste bland. This video is for men who have been stuck in that loop. At the beginning, conversations flow well. You feel close. There is a lot of interaction. But as time goes on, things slow down, emotions cool off, and you cannot figure out what you did wrong. If you keep communicating in a way that always feels safe, the outcome will not change. Only the person does. In this video, we're going to talk about how to create a wide enough emotional range so that when she is around you, sometimes she feels happy, sometimes confused, sometimes curious, and sometimes even slightly irritated. But she cannot stop thinking about you. This is not about manipulation. It is about understanding why some people are constantly pulled into dramatic relationships while others are quietly forgotten despite being kind. The most important part is at the end of the video, where I will point out the very thin line between stirring emotions and completely destroying the connection if you use it the wrong way. If you do not want to stay stuck as the nice guy that nobody desires, watch until the end and subscribe to the channel. Everything here is built to help you understand the true nature of attraction, not to teach tricks. The biggest reason many men fail to create attraction is not a lack of care. It is that they are too predictable. Every time she is around you, the emotional experience is the same: safe, comfortable, and without any movement. And when emotions do not change, the brain stops paying attention. People do not bond through absolute stability. They bond through experiences that rise and fall. When every interaction is flat, with no anticipation, no curiosity, and no surprise, emotions slowly fade, even if you do nothing wrong. Boredom does not come from conflict. It comes from having nothing new to feel. The outcome is very familiar. At first, she talks a lot, responds well, and feels comfortable. But over time, her level of investment does not increase. Emotions get stuck at neutral. You are still there. You are still kind. But you are no longer the person she thinks about when her emotions rise. You become a safe option, not a memorable experience. If you keep communicating in a way that creates only one emotional state, the result will not change. You will just repeat the same script with different people. And that is why so many connections end in silence without any clear reason. A very common false belief is this: if you are good enough, caring enough, and stable enough, emotions will naturally grow. But the truth is, emotions do not operate on moral logic. They operate on intensity of experience. The brain does not remember what is right. It remembers what forces it to react. That is why many women can feel drawn to men who bring complex emotions into their lives. Sometimes close, sometimes distant, sometimes warm, sometimes hard to read. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because their emotions are constantly being activated. When emotions rise and fall, the brain starts to associate that experience with the person who creates it. The difference between a friend and a romantic partner is not the level of kindness. It is the ability to stir emotion. Someone who is always predictable only creates comfort. Someone who is unpredictable creates curiosity. And wherever there is curiosity, attention lasts longer. More importantly, unpredictability does not come from acting or pretending. It comes from not revealing all of your emotions and intentions right away. When she is not sure what you are thinking or how you truly feel, her brain automatically fills in the gaps with assumptions. And those assumptions are what keep her thinking about you even when you are not around. In the next part, I will wrap up the core psychological principles behind emotional range and unpredictability so you clearly understand what should be created and what should never be crossed before we move into real life situations. The first principle to understand is this: people do not bond to a single emotion, they bond to emotional change. When someone only brings one emotional state, always pleasant and always stable, the brain quickly adapts and stops paying attention. But when emotions have a wider range, the experience becomes more memorable and harder to replace. The second principle is that unpredictability creates psychological space. When you do not reveal all your emotions, when you do not clearly state what you are thinking or what you will do next, her brain automatically fills that space with speculation. And the more she speculates, the more emotional investment increases. Not because you are being fake or mysterious on purpose, but because you are not rushing to hand over full control of your emotional state. The third principle is that drama only has value when it is controlled. Emotional fluctuation does not mean causing harm, creating pain, or generating chaos. If emotions cross the safety threshold, attraction turns into defensiveness. That is why an effective emotional range always sits between two boundaries, strong enough to stir emotion, but safe enough to preserve respect. The final principle is that lasting attraction is always tied to self-control. When you are not afraid of negative reactions and not afraid of losing the connection, you naturally become unpredictable. And that non-attached state is the foundation that allows emotional movement to happen naturally without forcing it. In the next section, I will turn these principles into 5 very real-life situations based on her behavior, so you can see when to create emotional movement and when to hold back, instead of acting purely on impulse. The first situation is when she becomes very cheerful and affectionate around you. When many men sense this comfort, their wrong instinct is to try to preserve that state at all costs. They talk more, accommodate more, and avoid doing anything that might disrupt the mood. This unintentionally causes emotions to stall. The right response is not to freeze the emotion, but to allow it to rise and fall. For example, after a stretch of lighthearted laughter, you might say calmly, "You are really charming right now, but I am curious what you are like when you are serious." That sentence creates a small emotional shift. A new sense of curiosity appears in her mind. If you only keep things cheerful, she will adapt very quickly, and the emotional experience will flatten again. The second situation is when she proactively shows care and expects you to respond right away. In that moment, she is forming an expectation of consistency in her mind. The wrong instinct is to immediately reply in full because you are afraid of disappointing her. But when every response is instant, you become predictable. The right response is not to reject her interest, but to not always satisfy it immediately. For example, instead of replying right away, you send a brief response a bit later. "I just finished up some work and saw your message." That slight delay creates a small gap for her to think. If you always respond instantly, emotions never get the chance to move. The third situation is when she starts to feel irritated or begins arguing with you. The wrong instinct is to rush to calm things down, apologize, or give in just to bring emotions back to a safe place. The right response is not to avoid the friction, but also not to push it too far. For example, when she is upset, you might say, "I can tell you are not in a great mood, but we do not have to agree right away." That sentence holds a boundary and allows emotion to exist. In her mind, you are not someone who avoids emotion, but someone solid enough to stay present with it. If you always try to smooth things over immediately, emotional peaks will never form. The fourth situation is when she becomes curious and wants to clearly know how you feel about her. The wrong instinct is to reveal all your thoughts and emotions so she can feel reassured. The right response is not to deny your feelings, but also not to fully expose them. For example, "I enjoy talking to you, but I am not in a rush to label everything. This response stays honest while still leaving some ambiguity. In her mind, that ambiguity becomes the space where speculation happens. If you are too clear too early, unpredictability disappears and emotions cool down. The fifth situation is when she reacts strongly, whether that is anger, sadness, or pulling back her interest. The wrong instinct is to panic and try to fix everything immediately because you are afraid of losing her. The right response is not to chase negative emotion, but to give it time to settle on its own. For example, when she goes quiet or seems distant, you simply say, "When you feel like talking again, let me know." That sentence shows that you are not afraid of negative emotion. In her mind, that brief absence allows emotions to keep moving. If you rush to chase her, emotion shifts from intensity to pressure. What all 5 situations have in common is this: you are not trying to hold one fixed emotional state. You are allowing emotions to move within a safe range. When she experiences different emotional states around you and cannot predict your reactions, her brain associates you with strong emotional experiences. And that is what makes you unforgettable. The key thing to remember is this: women do not become attached to you because you always make them feel good. They become attached because when they are around you, their emotions are always in motion. When you do not try to maintain a single state, when you are not afraid of emotional friction, and when you do not need constant validation, you naturally become unpredictable. And that unpredictability is what holds attention over time. What you just heard is not meant to manipulate or cause harm. Do not apply this when you are anxious, outcome dependent, or trying to control someone else's reactions. From that state, any drama turns into pressure. Only apply this when you are calm, have clear boundaries, and respect yourself. Over the next 7 days, do 3 simple things. First, observe emotional rhythm in your interactions. When things feel too flat, do not try to stretch it out. When there is friction, do not rush to smooth it over. Second, hold back part of your emotional expression. Do not reveal everything. Do not label things too early. Let the ambiguity do its job. Third, do not fear negative reactions. Give emotions time to settle instead of chasing to fix them. If after 1 week you feel lighter in communication and her reactions have more depth, that is a sign you are moving in the right direction. Lasting attraction always starts from self-control, not from forced effort. If this video helped you recognize a reflex you have been getting wrong, hit like and share it with someone who might benefit. And subscribe to the channel to keep following content that goes deeper into state, boundaries, and how to create natural attraction.